obviously in Europe, but I've had a few emails in the last 48 hours, and I thought I'd catch up with you guys and do a mini read as to the energy and the frequencies of what is currently happening. 2 people already. Hello, welcome. So I kind of figure you guys would not have been sleeping. The frequency on the 17th and the 18th is quite high. There is a lot of reflection going on at the moment. A lot of us at the moment hi Elizabeth, are getting a lot done. But we're also picking up on a frequency of change. Now, some of your Kundalini may be heating up, so to speak. So you may get to a point where you're getting a lot more done. You might be feeling a little bit where, you know, you're getting things done and then all of a sudden getting an aspect of a trigger coming through. And that can be coming out of left field without warning, so to speak. Now, with that, trying to stay grounded. Now, there is an aspect, a planetary kind of aspect that is transforming at the moment between now and October. Now, that is directly connected to what one would call the death of ego. So a lot of us might be having trigger points, emotionally speaking, you know, of the aspect of the ego being triggered. Hi, Giggle. We were just talking earlier and I was like, it's probably getting a bit late for a video because I have been actually working quite late on the actual website now. I'm going to have to get my charger because I said, well, my phone's almost dying, but I'll still be able to do shit regardless. So I'll get my charger if I can find it. Where's the battery at? We might have enough time. We'll see how we go. I'll make it a quick, snappy one. So with the aspects of the Ascension symptoms, it can be quite high at the moment. So, you know, you'll be getting the heating up of the spine, the trigger points with the emotions coming through. Also, a lot of like downloads. You'll be seeing synchronicities. Now, I've started forming kind of folders of videos I'm going to do. Obviously, because I do the videos per month, bear with me while the channel's changing because I am going to start doing soulmate videos. I will add the extension videos to Vimeo. Now, initially, I was going to do twin flame video updates on my channel, but the upload process is very time consuming. So I've had to be very practical about how I'm implementing it. So I am going to be bringing that through, but they will be purchasable on Vimeo. I'll give you a heads up when that's coming through. Now, also, I have created subscriptions via the website. And that's for when you've had no contact, like a support room that you can actually join. It is on the basis of 3 months or 6 months. And that way you can enter into a complete discreet room. It's very affordable and it's 3 sessions a month. So I'm trying to work out how I'm going to do it, be it, you know, where it's going to be of the evening. We actually do the sessions or of the morning. So I'll await feedback on that notion and I'll customize it around that. So there's the twin flame package, there's the mirroring package and also the no contact one, so that if you guys are feeling you're needing that extra support in the privacy and we can work through your triggers, there's actually those subscriptions that are available via website. Now, I'm going to be doing the chakra videos to help us get grounded because when we're having those triggers coming through, the aspect of mindfulness is going to help us get back to ourselves to become quite grounded. Now, at the level of what is transpiring at the moment, you're going to need to be aware of what is your energy and what isn't. Now, regardless, I have seen and intuitively had a vision of 3 groups of twins, and it can be in the second wave. Within the second wave, there's 3 groups. Now, there's those of you who are releasing the ego, okay? So don't get upset if you're getting to a point where you're having trigger points and, how do I put it? You're having a trigger and you're thinking, wow, you know, I really thought I'd purged this. I really thought that my soul had evolved a lot more than what I physically am seeing it has. It has evolved. It is what one would call the final purge. That really is what it is. Now, the ego will always be present, but it's more in this aspect of the groups of you I'm talking about with the final purge, it's more to do with the fact that your self-awareness is moving beyond that factor where you have that knowing of where triggers are coming from. So you've mastered yourself. So you may be seeing 3s, you might be seeing 4s. 717, 711 is coming through. 611, a lot of synchronicities where we hadn't seen them in a while, they're coming back, and it's because you are ascending, you're moving forward, so to speak. Also, the synchronicities connected to dreams. You're having astro travel happening quite a bit at the moment, and a lot of it isn't directly connected to you. It's more counterparts directly communicating with you in preparation. Now, the groups that I'm seeing that are splitting, those of you who are moving towards oneness with self is duality, and that's why a lot of the videos I'm going to do are going to be based around self. So number one, okay, I don't know how to explain this without, how do I put it? We are twins, right? Regardless of that, releasing the ego is having faith that whatever is to be is to be. It's not from the aspect, and I talked to Antonella about this the other day, hi Carmen, is that, you know, the videos that I do where I am on my personal journey, I'm looking at them from my aspect, from a second waver, that how to master myself. Because, you know, if we can, it's very hard for those of you who still have that direct aspect of control related issues going on, feeling uneasy connected to that transformation. So, you know, the videos that you look at, you'll note that you're changing because the style of videos you're attracted to will change. Now, in discussions I've had with twins in the background, it does fall into separate groups. So some of you are releasing it where you are having this complete knowing that everything that is to be is going to be. Others of you are in the aspect of fighting your own ego and feeling in some shape or form you have to take direct action in order to get something out, which is ego-related trigger points. If you can actually have that self-awareness and work with the triggers, which is why I say come and book a reading, that can help you move through it very quickly. And my friendship groups that are twins, I work with them. And I know, you know, Shelley had one the other day and she said exactly the same, and she walked through it quite quick. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a reading. It can be working with your triggers and just a listening ear to get that off your chest to a point you can get yourself grounded again. You know, there are many tools on the website that help you with that. There are crystals, there's the bath salts, there's the smudge sticks. Yes, you can get them everywhere. The candles, there is a balancing set of candles you can buy for twin flames, which does have the aspects to have the aromatherapy aspect of the clearing of the chakras with that. So they're tools I developed specifically for the journey, and that's to get the best out of your situation and try and help you get grounded. Now, the other ones of you who are to that point where you're really fighting the ego, many of you might still be getting triggered by listening to particular readings. Now, when it comes down to a reading, the one thing you've got to understand is there are time frames in readings. Now, spiritually speaking, from a psychic's point of view, when I give a reading, unless I'm seeing, usually when I'm having a reading, right, there might be a key point in the reading. Now, if I'm triggered to tell you that that is a start point, when you see this aspect transpiring within your reading, within your 3D life, that is the start point. So it means you're on track and it's moving forward. When you're listening to, you know, general readings on YouTube, what you're going to find is your ego is going to be telling you. I mean, I did this just for, you know, theory the other day, flicking through and looking at that one zodiac sign and just looking at the collective of what was written. Now, when I do the Libran and the Cancer videos, because I am a rising and ascendant, so to speak, in the Libran and the Cancer, I always close my eyes when I pull the cards. And it's quite frustrating when I see the cards, because if I pull the cards for myself, especially being psychic, I would actually need a person to physically ask me questions to channel myself. Now, when it comes down to channeling you, I can do that better, depending on how open you are. But when you pull the cards for yourself, a lot of ego can be involved, so you question it. Whereas if you're going to shuffle the cards well, make sure they're cleared, you know, just what do I need to know? Don't ask questions. What do you need to know? And you pull your own card. If you, that's what I do for the Libra and the Cancer videos, and then I tune into it directly as per se, it's not me. Then the ego directly isn't connected to it because you're accepting of whatever is in front of you. Now, even in the Libran video, it states people from the past coming back. Now, the realization of what you've got to understand with the reading, it's not that it's not relevant if the person hasn't come back. What it is it's their intent. You're tuning into their intent and the 3D nature of what is coming through with that. So spiritually, when you tune into an energy, it isn't time specific, but it is a factor that when you visually see that in a reading, it's that the ball has started. It's almost like if you see it over and over again over 2-3 months, what's happening is they're dealing with the 3D aspects of situations so that they can move through that energy to get to you, but the intent and the movement is that. It doesn't have to be it's coming to your door that day. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the other group of you that are getting triggered, you do need to be careful the videos you're watching, but you also need to pay attention to your trigger points within your ego, because the ego at the moment is really battling a lot of us because we are purging the ego. So it can be all of a sudden you get these really old fears coming up and you're looking at it going, hey, you know, if this person came to me, I'd do X, Y, and Z. And they're old energies. Now, it can be your counterparts energy and frequency, but you've got to remember when I speak about us being dual, to come into yourself, you will realize the more your readings resemble each other, the more you are coming into duality with yourself. And even when you do look at a masculine reading, you need to look at the masculine aspects of self, because you can help your own process of your spiritual journey and you can fast track it. But it's by doing the work. It's not looking outside of yourself for another individual to define you. It is to understand that for those of you, I'm seeing 3 groups. Now, I'll explain why. Those who are getting really well on the aspects of the ego and releasing it, releasing attachment, releasing expectation, and doing the work, you're in a perfect vibration. You are in perfect alignment to receiving. Those of you who are, you know, fighting and looking at the 3D and being triggered by the 3D, you're still in the matrix and you're fighting your ego connected to it. So you're attracting similar things to actually learn a karmic lesson. The others of you who feel you're triggered and you're looking at the 3D situation and you're judging it from anger, victim mode, ID mode, or fear, those of you who go off and do get into a connection, what you're doing is attracting that same vibration. So spiritually, you're feeling that you are safe, that you are within your right, that you're holding that frequency of. So when I talk to you guys and I'm talking about it, don't feel I'm siding. It's got nothing to do with that. It's a frequency alignment related subject. So and you'll see a synchronistic pattern in your life, especially when you come to a point where you go, fuck, you know, every person I've been with has done X, Y, and Z. It's a frequency related subject matter. So if you can actually own your truth and realize you can move into your oneness, you are deserving then, and everything you need, you won't need to manifest. You will actually attract it like a magnet. It's a frequency alignment subject. Those of you who are in the anger, check yourself when you're having it, because it might not even be connected to twin or partner or soulmate. It's connected to an old subject matter. But the more you become self-aware, the more you'll understand. You won't be giving your power away, so to speak. So you can jump out of that frequency very quickly and directly relate. Now, I was looking into a lot of twins at the moment are looking at their finances. And the notion that we're having, which I had one of those aha moments the other day, is that we have to do X, Y, and Z to be able to generate funds. And I was listening to Abraham Hicks and another video, and this person was on the talk with them saying, so you mean to say that don't do anything, that is expecting everything to come to them, will just have what they deserve. They'll just get it. And she said, rephrase it, obviously. So the rephrasing of it was, if the mind in a theoretical level and the heart chakra is an aspect of manifestation, having that thought is a frequency. So your thought is a frequency. And in the aspect of manifestation, if you're looking at your fears, you're manifesting them. If you're jealous, you're manifesting it. Where's it coming from? Go back. Where did that come from? Why do you feel unworthy? Why do you feel that you should be? Is there a lack of boundaries in the connection? Are they in alignment? No, to the side. You don't want to be, because what you're doing is you're playing Russian roulette with your life. If the person isn't respecting you, then you need to, God bless, and be humble. Don't be judgmental, because it's not to do with you. That's your ego telling you it is. It's to do with them. It is an alignment-related issue that they need to directly deal with. And you standing in your truth, not in a horrible, narcissistic, angry, aggressive manner, in a, I'm in truth, this does not serve me, that moves their frequency back for them to take accountability for, that is not a benchmark that you will tolerate. And it's not that you're, it's not even a tolerant aspect. It's more that is not in alignment with your truth and who you are. You know where it's coming from. You're having an awareness of it. Yes, it's triggered it in you, because what it's doing is telling you that something isn't balanced, something isn't right. Now, if it's connected to you and there's something you can do about it, yes. You know, if you're not allowing a person through trust to be who they need to be because of people that have hurt you in the past, that's you, and that's a purge you need to do. If it's connected to their behavior and it's not in alignment with what you believe give and take should be, then you need to remove yourself. And that's just being honest, okay? Now, let's see what is going on. But if you are blocked, if you can't work with your blocks, you need to find someone to help you work through the blocks. And trying, a lot of us at the moment are also seeing more than what we usually do. So don't be surprised if the veil is very thin at the moment. Probably in the last week, I've been getting a lot of downloads connected to seeing spirits and seeing energies. Clear your homes, as well as deal with your triggers as they're coming through, okay? But the manifestation, even at a financial level, if you are feeling undeserving, the finances will be directly blocked from you. If you're focused on lack, you will attract lack. If you are to the point where you feel to the point where there are things that you need to do in your life, if you meditate upon it, that can actually help you. Let's see the general energy of what we need to focus on. Before my phone dies. Now, when you look at these readings, try and look at how it directly relates to you when I'm tuning into the masculine, because a lot of us at the moment are having an area where we're having to really use a masculine aspect of our energy to get us through. Now, also look at where you're giving your power away, where you are getting to a point where there's things you need to do, and it's almost like you're looking at it going, oh, but I can't be here, I can't live here, or I can't do that, I can't do this, because it won't be. That's manipulation of the matrix, because you're believing that if you're not in a particular location, you won't be connected to your twin if that's destined. Do you know what I mean? So your mind is attempting to manipulate the matrix. When you're flowing with the matrix, you're flowing through it, above it and over it. Yet when you're in it, you're allowing your ego to control you through it, which is giving you a fake perception that you are, how do I put it? That you can manipulate the path. You can manipulate the path in your own life by getting yourself in alignment. But if you're holding on, what you're holding on to is something that isn't real. You're holding on to a belief that you can steer the purge, the growth, the evolution of it in a way you want. It may not be, you know, that way that it's going to turn up. So you need to trust in that process. You can fast track it, but it's by doing the work on yourself that actually happens. So listening to yourself, you know, a lot of the videos I'm going to do are connected to how to build your spiritual intuition. Now, you guys are being a bit strict. Now, it can be trigger points coming up of the way you feel connected to your counterpart, or the aspect of the way you view yourself and your twin is out of balance. So it can be that you're being too hard on yourself, that you're trying to get too much done. It can also be that you're being too hard on your opinions and your feelings of a 3D nature of something that you're visually looking at. Although the trigger point of where this is coming from is because in the masculine's world, which is actually happening inside of you, is physically going through a tower moment. Okay, so a lot of the inboxes that I'm getting are, you know, in connection to counterpart and what they're doing, and that's for those of you who are in direct communication contact with your twin. Now, one thing you have to understand is you've got to ask yourself the question when you're working with your twin, right? Are you enabling your twin, number one? Are you preventing their spiritual purge, number two? You know, if you're trying to help them, save them, that's not an alignment, okay? So what you're doing is delaying the journey, because what you need to learn is to let go, to trust in the process. You can be a support, but by owning their things and even tuning into believing the person can't evolve, that becomes problematic. So, you know, it might be that you're getting a trigger point thinking, hey, you know, how long has it been? Where the hell has this person been? They've let me down so many times in my life, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Houston has a problem, okay? So the intensity you're feeling can be that you are picking up on their frequency, but in your life, you're having a tower moment, feminines, because where are you falling down short? Where is something falling down that you thought it was going to go a certain way? And the fall down, the tower moment, is that you're having a realization that it's not going to be the way you thought it was going to be. It's going to be different, okay? So it's the ego being slapped, being said, no, no, no. We know how this is going to be. You don't have control over this. You have control of your purge and how quick you move. Now, even when it comes down to charts, I even had a download the other day, because you can have a skip step in your charts in astrology. Theoretically, in your life chart, it's kind of like it's semi-mapped, okay? One would say it's semi-mapped. However, don't ever let a chart directly define you, because you spiritually can skip 50 steps if you choose to evolve and be awoken correctly, okay? Now, when it comes down to things being taken from you, a lot of the feminines at the moment are looking at people and things that were taken from them. So the trigger point is the ego of abandonment-related issues, or let down, or why is this happening? But masculines are experiencing this too. So, you know, I can bounce back and forward to how you guys are mirroring yourselves. You know, they may have had too many options and just wanted to jump left and right to avoid the one that they knew that they had to. But they do have a lot of things that they've got to deal with right now. And it can be that they're romanticizing the past connected to you, but they're also looking back to when life was simpler. And God, you know, how many cups have I picked? How did I do a 360 to the point I'm at? Whereas you're looking at everything that have been taken from you. You're also holding on to your cash so tight that extra is not coming in. It's trigger points to do with expectation. Okay? Simpler times. So clearly masculines feeling shit, life was a lot easier back in the heyday when things were just love and roses and where you had plenty of options. They're confused, okay? They have too many options, but they're not great options. So they're going around in circles and they're getting the same equation. So anything they've got to deal with, they're having a tower moment, and now they're like, I'm at the T section of the road. There's plenty of ways, but it all leads back to one location. So I need to start making some hard decisions. Now with you guys, feminines, you're you're looking at it going, okay, how do I maintain this money? How do I hold on to good quality friends? How do I have feminines in my life without them being lower class citizens that want to take my man? It's all those small things, depending on what group you're in, that are coming up in a trigger point. Now, those of you who are more evolved, not that that's better, it means you're going to hell and back, you're more to the point where you're having those aha moments and the trigger moments, and you're very sharply coming out of it very quickly, which is really good. It's good to see. So pat yourself on your back for your transformation. Now, with your masculine aspect of your side, the reality is you have lots of options coming in, but you've got to ask yourself whether you're ready for them. Now, masculine, they're also looking at what's being taken from them, and they're being very strict on themselves and looking at maybe how they could have done things differently. Now, feminines, you're having to have courage, but so are masculines, okay? Because this is on their aspect side as well, because we're bouncing, it's duality. So you're having to have courage connected to a 3D situation. They're also seeing the aspect of innocence within themselves, within you. Sorry about my nails, because I was going to go back to work, but I'm meditating on that one. Trying to find balance. Now, when it comes to the two, again, this is a time frame of an energy of a planet of Sagittarius, or a planet being in Sagittarius. And again, it is connected to the death of ego, because I do know there's Scorpio to Sagittarius or vice versa. When it swaps planets, whichever one it is connected to the death of ego. So between now and the end of the year, that is forming. Now, I did listen to a reader the other day, and they were like, October's going to be great. And I was like, yeah. Only because when you look at the planets of next year to now, it's very different. It almost looks like a walk in the park than what we've had. Now, feminines, you're ready to walk through a door. And I think the trigger points are coming from because you are ready to make a left or right, and you're actually processing, similar to masculine, all these options. Now, it may be that you've had a new person come in, or that you have had love-related offers, and then you're meditating upon what to do, what's right, what feels correct for you. You know, how you could have a healthy relationship, who that would be with, what way to go, where to live. I'm telling you, the amount you guys are thinking of is profound. But then you're coming back to the 3D, okay? To keep yourself grounded, to move beyond the point where you're not back there, you're not in front, you're in the moment. That's when you can get into the frequency of belief, okay? Where it's not about your thought, yes, and heart chakra activation has been huge. It's almost coming to the point where you realize the 3D notion of a relationship does not mean you have a permit to own a dog. And that's just being simple, right? When we get a pet, at times we have a permit. The old 3D notion, and it's not to say that it has a lack, right? It's the mindset of spiritually how we've transformed, and I have been married, so I'm speaking from, you know, my perspective as well. You know, they say once the ego becomes involved, it's not directly pure love, it's expectation. So if physically you can see what has happened between your twin flame journey and with other people that have hurt you, and you still can hold love in your heart, that's love, because that is unconditional love. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the realization that anything before, the way in which you were directly dealing with it was from an expectation point of view, or an ownership point of view, or there are laws connected to you moving with me. Yes, there are, but it's more from you owning that and you saying, hey, this is where it is. I unconditionally love you, but if you move beyond that point, I'm disrespecting myself. I'm removing myself. That's an ownership of your own frequency that has nothing to do with you making that person accountable. Their life makes them accountable, their karma. their lessons, their lack of having you there at an unconditional level. Like, you can still be unconditional and love from afar, but you're holding your own sacred temple, you know, in a safe premises. So you're rating it and you're valuing it. So that's how you're spiritually changing. Now, with the masculines, they're actually using their intuition. Hi, Stefan. They're using their intuition. So for those of you who have had trigger points, another thing is a download I had is that 9 times out of 10, your counterpart will not do anything to hurt you intentionally. Now, how things come about is, okay, let me explain it before you bite my head off. This is even when it comes down to the grit, right? If in a 3D notion they are looking at a predicament of where they're at spiritually, and they're going, wow, I'm overwhelmed, I need to purge, I need to heal, I need to get myself in alignment, I'm looking at all these obstacles in front of me, it's just too much, it's just too much, and they go and bounce with another person, it's because that was a simpler version for them to gradually evolve. Okay, so it isn't directly connected to you. You may trigger them in some shape or form to be their best version of themselves, and that to them is scary because they're wanting to be, but they're looking at also the 3D obstacles, and energetically at that time, they didn't feel they could fight those battles. So they've saved you from yourself because you would have held on. So by doing a profound task, it removes you because they're in their ego saying, I can't. Their ego is controlling them, so to speak. So their ego is telling them, you're weak, you can't do this. This is too complicated. This means opening up. This means risk. This means hurt. So they then counteract and choose a simpler version to avoid, which is what they've been doing for a long time. So, you know, some could say they've been on this ego trail of bouncing partners, bouncing decisions, using other methods to not pick the cup that they know that they wanted to pick, but they needed to do work in order to have that. So they're aware of this now. The Tower moment is that realization that that's what's happened, and they know they're having dreams. They know that the innocence is within them, because not knowing but having an intuition of that's what they're doing, after the fact it can feel like hell for them, because they're like, why do I have this repeating cycle going on? It's because they feel they don't want to take you down with them. So it theoretically is integrity. Now, what they did to you might not have been integrity, but in their eyes, they weren't going to take you down with the sinking ship, so they removed themselves from your energy frequency, which then it was because choices between you weren't being made, and that was on feminine side and masculine side, okay? But within yourself, you weren't balanced, neither one of you. So that's why the separation happens. Now, it doesn't mean to say you have to go back with twin, but it's saying in your life regardless, and this is why I say, you know, if you choose not to be with your twin, you can do that. But what you do need to understand is duality isn't anything. It's for your safety. So when I talk of this matter, it's so that you can have a healthy, beautiful relationship in your future, and you're not going to attract karmic situations. By removing choices, right? By not making choices, you're choosing not to choose. Do you understand what I'm saying? So by you not having an aspect of forgiveness means you will have to come back in the next life and do this again. To release doesn't mean that you're condoning what a person did. It means that you're choosing to not carry that frequency of a burden inside of yourself. You're forgiving the frequency. You're releasing the frequency, because it's like a Hessian sack, and you don't want to be carrying that with you. So it's not I'm saying that what was done was correct. It's not I'm saying that. It is a lower frequency, and the closure comes from within. It never comes from another person. We do believe at times it comes from another person, but it actually doesn't, because if someone can come to you and apologize, but if you can't resolve that in you and accept that, then they could say all the beautiful things under the sun, and it's not going to register inside. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even though some of you might say, hey, I want an apology or I want this and that, it doesn't mean anything, because ultimately, unless you can come to that closure point for yourself, they can say all the Hail Marys under the sun, and it's not going to relieve you of that pain. And some of these trigger points for feminines and masculines, there is a realization coming through that these energies had nothing to do with this connection, that the damage in the connection was connected to past tense frequencies entering the situation. So if you can release that, it is that healthy new beginning for you, for them, and for the future of where it's going to go. Okay, now there is going to be a connection. Now, both of you, masculine and feminine, are going to have offers coming in. Both of you may have an opportunity to have the connection together. So the frequency is changing that way. Now, together, this can be the seed of a new idea. This can also be fertility, but to me, I'm not seeing fertility. This has been coming up in a lot of card readings. I feel it's more from a spiritual point of view. It's like the seed of an idea. It's the beginning. It's the incubation point where you're starting a new chapter. But you need to let the old chapter die. You're fighting it though. The ego is fighting it. And this is for masculines and feminines. And this is your yin and yang inside. It's like you're fighting it. You're like, no, I don't want to change. And you're like, you know you have to, because you already have. You've changed. It's like, yeah. Hey, Sarah, it's changed, right? The stagnation will be if you don't allow this change to happen. Are you feeling me? Go with the flow. Let it out. You feel angry? You be in that frequency. Okay, one more card and then I'm going, because my phone is going to die. Okay, so we're dealing with the shadow aspects. I'll try and see if I can come on your time tomorrow morning and do another one. And I'll try and do a few readings to show you how to build the frequency back up, okay? So the shadow aspect can come through in 2.5 and it'll be like a mass purge of sputum, and then it'll just be gone. And you'll be like, wow. Hello, Duchess Lee. How are you? Well, let me see if I can get my charger. I'll see if I can get my charger and I'll have a chit chat with it on the door. You'll have to come to my room, and I haven't made my bed, so don't look. I have recordings all day for the videos, so I'm going to be very busy all day for me. But the 17th frequency-wise and the 18th was very heavy. I'm also starting to, I'm probably going to put up a forecast connected to how we're feeling in our frequency. I may be able to do that daily. A lot of the videos where I did say that I would be doing these regularly, it's been because behind the scenes I have been updating the website, updating the services I'm going to provide. Also with the additional videos, I may get to a point where I'm doing zodiac signs for the twin flames, but also soulmate readings. Because I do know that there are certain people on the channel that aren't twin flames, but the reality is, if people understand, duality has nothing to do with just twins. It is for us at a collective level to understand that we're spiritually transforming. So sometimes if a person is looking at the video, they might be looking at it going, oh, but I don't have a twin, so this isn't relevant to me. Yes and no. I mean, it is, because ultimately to get to a place where you can be the best version of yourself, it has everything to do with you as well. So Antonella was speaking to me about the waves of twins and how that's going to change, and whether it kind of changes it for the next wave of twins. Yes and no, but I mean, the second wave of twins was connected to the bridging the gap between families, you know, how families would merge, breaking down the paradigms of having that unconditional love, and you know, merging two families at many times, at many levels, merging cultures, changing that dynamic. And when it gets down to it, the third wave may have a very different frequency. I mean, we do pin down to the point where a relationship directly means a contract, and it's not a contract, it's a vibration. So a lot of what the second wavers were breaking down is the old paradigms of the belief system that you own a person, and you really don't. And that's a real lower frequency to have a relationship with. I know I'm definitely not a ball and chain girl. I may have been, but where it's changed to, I probably couldn't put myself back into that box regardless. A lot of feminines look at their life and say, hey, you know, I've got to work all the time, and I really, you know, gosh, it's overwhelming. I wish I had a masculine in my life to help me with that situation. Or you've had to really understand that men are human, that they do make mistakes. But unfortunately, because we have not been in alignment in this planet, there are frequencies of feminines and masculines who are acting, how to put it, at a lack of compassion level, and losing an aspect of internal integrity to self. So that does change the way in which we have to direct with these conflicts. But the next wave may be very much where the love is a frequency with no expectations. And I mean, that's where we're moving towards, but our ego is really fighting us at this point. It's always like you look at the generation, you're like, how is it going to change? How will we be different? How are we going to be different? Trust me. Well, the planets that I looked at for next year, I'm telling you, they look like, when you have 8 planets retrograde on a month and you're looking for a bunker, when you see just 1 planet in a month retrograde, you're like, oh, that looks so nice. That looks like sun in the Bahamas. Let it go, Stefan. Try not to heal her. You need to let it go. Do you know, the frequency at the moment, I would say with you, is you need to, how would I put it? It might be in a mirroring effect, a notation for you to look at the value in yourself. So to look at yourself and hold yourself in high regard, and start focusing on your own dual dreams. Does that make sense? Because look, it may be that you need to branch out. Do you have dreams outside of a current frequency of, do you know what I mean? Then go get them. Go get them. You know, a lot of it is, a lot of going to mission with my twin. I mean, your growth is your mission with your twin. It doesn't have to be that you work with your twin. Your twin, you know, duality is coming into wholeness where you motivate each other, but you don't have to be in each other's pockets. I mean, I think there's a misconception that we are going to be side by side in this lifetime, you know, in each other's pockets. I really don't think so. If anything, it's helped us be unconditional and flexible, within means, obviously, but I don't feel would be up in each other's face 24/7 as twins in the collective. I just don't feel that. And I feel to keep the energy fresh, you do need, you know, there's nothing more attractive than a person knowing what they want and having their own hopes and dreams. There's everything unattractive about a needy person that is scared, and we're in that nurture mode, and we're like, I need you to save me, I need you to define me. There's at times in the journey, it can really trigger the feminine or the masculine when they're projecting that back to us. But when we actually come that full circle, anyone who wasn't with her twin that had evolved to that level would be an idiot, personally. So peace out. If you know what I mean. But a lot of us are looking at our ego at the moment, and that can be our thought process about ourselves, what we look like, what we feel, what we do and don't like. Well, you probably may. You may do, but think of it that you're having a twin holiday. I mean, look, honestly, apart from for my spiritual growth, I have, how do I put it? I have no need for twin flame videos. I mean, at an energetic level, to see I'm in alignment with myself, where I'm at spiritually, the release of it is the biggest release I've had of my life, because I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? It's I might have trigger points now and then in my general life, but that's through healing and getting downloads. But to a point of spiritual growth, the way I do my videos is so that I can come into alignment. And yes, if you're in alignment, you can have union. You can. A lot of people have had trigger points over the last 2 weeks, okay? Yeah, but, you know, when... Are you? Are you okay? It's okay not to be okay. If you're seeking perfection, then yes, wait. There's no such thing as perfection. So you can say today I'm having a 10 out of 10 frequency. But then on other days it's okay to be crap. You know, you don't have to be perfect at all times. I can say there's times where I wish peace could fly. And there's other days I think impure thoughts of I hope bricks fall on your house. And then there's other days I'm like, meh, whatever. There's worse people out there, right? It could be worse. Well, do you know what? Sometimes, Michelle, you need to be to a point where you can be that neutral person, and a lot of masculines and feminines have had a frequency of a connection for a long time, depending on how long you've been on the journey, that you should have that friendship. And sometimes it is like a contract. It is spiritual contract. What to be, what hat do you need to wear on that day? Can you be a friend on that day? Can you be... can you just be someone who's quietly sitting there because they're changing? You know, I had, you know, a person I was talking to the other day, and they were talking about the things that were happening in their life, and like, just from an objective point of view, some things in the background that I've been dealing with, I mean, I can tell you, I was thinking, oh man, you know, if I'm going through the ring of hair, mighty oath, if, you know, if, say, in theory, in alignment, then if your twin was going through half of what you're going through, that's be like a cement mixer and a washing machine. So, but when we're in that frequency, we're like me, you know, and be mindful that, yes, okay, many people have let you down in your life. Many people have. Yeah, twin has too, but I'm sure they've got a list a mile long that you don't even know about, because hardly they ever talk. Just be mindful of that. And another thing I had an aha moment about is a lot of twins do talk about the aspect of, and this is going to be food for thought, my twin does this and that with his karmic, but he never does this with me. Let me tell you a hard fact. What happens if you actually had the real person and that's what they really wanted to do? Was like, you know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z yet. Maybe they're more authentic in their truth with you, in a sense that they can be selfish, obnoxious, which is okay in the aspect of the purging path. Yeah, that was relevant. But maybe they were actually being completely truthful when they didn't want to do particular things, because they could be that with you. Well, the best fulfilling relationship, Jamie, we can have is starting with ourselves first, but from obviously connections. So you can have connections with your friendships, with your girlfriends, with your male friends, mixing with males, especially if you're trying to balance your masculine out inside you, is very healthy as well. as well as being open to new connections and new situations if that's guided and it's destined, because those lessons that you feel you've purged and learnt, they can't actually be tested out until you are unfortunately in a connection, you know, where you can actually move that through. Ah? Don't give your power away. Do what you want to do, Elle. Or maybe we, how do I put it? A masculine's mind is like a battlefield. Shelley and I were laughing about the aspect of being a Libran. Now, what one person will see a Libran do when they're going to a shop, she had this outing the other day. Can I mention it, Shelley? Oh, into more BS. Well, they're not in alignment then. Kill me now. What was that? Twins are supposed to heal themselves and not each other's souls, working in that rays and heal everyone else. Okay, what about being a Libran? Okay, I was talking about the aspect of a coffee cup, okay? And for me personally, I go through these transformation stages, you know, where I'm looking at it, I'm going, this doesn't connect with me anymore. And I showed Shelley this cup because this is the aspect of a Libran. We change ourselves regularly. So she went with her daughter the other day and she was trying to look for a pot or a bin. And in her looking for it, her daughter's telling her, you just need to pick a pot. We need to go. Meanwhile, in Shelley land, which is Libran land, it doesn't come down to we're thinking, I like that pot, okay? Librans aren't that simple. Librans are a mathematical equation. So we're like, does this serve the purpose? Is it the correct price? Would it match the decor? Can I use it multiple purposes? Could I make it myself? What materials could I use? How much would it be? Okay? That's a masculine's head, right? Masculines do that. That was one example of... So it's not, and meanwhile, her daughter's looking at her going, just pick a pot. If she had hijacked her mother's head and she had been in there, she'd be like, get me out of here now. I'm just saying, okay? So sometimes we don't know the way masculines think. But if you're expecting them to serve justice upon you, you're giving your power away. If you're expecting to get justice from them, you're worried too much and you're giving them too much energy. If you care about what they say come and go, which in the early journey you do, again, you're giving them too much energy and frequency. If a person holds you in value, they're going to get their asses back home. Okay? They're going to get their asses back home if they do. If they do, because you're choosing what is correct for you. And it is, but when... Who's staying in a toxic environment, Al? Us as twins aren't staying in toxic environments. We are separate. Owning your power is not about being in a toxic vibration. Owning your power comes back to you. So the energy inside us generally is the toxic because we've tolerated something that was intolerable. So that's about us. That's accountability. Us coming to a point where we're going, okay. And I'm not saying everything that happened in a journey is directly just connected to one side, but if you've got power in a situation, for you to disconcern and say, hey, this isn't correct for me, you know, that's okay, that's correct. If you then choose that somehow they've got some manipulation or power over you, you're giving your power away, they have nothing. It is freedom of choice. You don't have to stay. you know, when we're looking at them and they're acting in a certain way, that's a healthy boundary. Well, don't tolerate breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs aren't, like, I'm not a bird. I am, but I fly away. If you're feeding me bird crumbs when I can feed myself a, I don't know, vegetarian lasagna, I'm going to be going elsewhere. Like, you know, self-value, self-worth. It's not just about twin. That's why these videos I do aren't just about twin. It's about, I understand, Chris, lots of disappointment on learning and unconditional. Yeah, I know, but you know, the disappointment shows you where this is what I say. When you have a child, you look at that child, and in that moment you don't have the ego connected, the first point, and you'll look at them, and 90% of the people that have that heart chakra activation with their shoulders, like that moment's unconditional. Then the ego gets directly involved and you have expectations. That's a different frequency. It's love with expectations. That's not unconditional. That's, I want you to grow up to have a good job. I want you to be correct. I don't want you to boot around with boys. That's expectations. Now, the reason twin flames had to go to hell and back is so that you could actually understand that, like with the child, no matter what they did, you somehow kept returning to love. Okay, I'm going to say this once. I do find it very frustrating where a lot of twins do misinterpret and misunderstand that I'm a twin flame too. It's not for me to understand, love, what you've gone through. It's not about what's happened to you. It's about healing you, okay? It's not about I'm saying your twin is better than you. It's not a competition. It's not that what they did was not terrible. I'm not saying that. The traumatization I can totally understand. I mean, you don't know what happened on my twin flame journey. I'm still alive. I'm still here. But, you know, a lot of us at the moment, I know, but we had a choice to trip and walk. It wasn't right. And the same thing happened to me. But I will have no peace in my life if I wasn't to let it go. And I did. I had to. It took me a while. It's that you've got to go through the hurt and the pain and the anguish after the breakup, right? To get to a point you can squeeze the pain out so that you can go, you know what, you don't define me. What happened did not define me. I did the best I could. And then understand and connect the dots that you may not have caused that. That was out of your control. But healthy boundaries in the here and now is that you will be safe, but you can still be open. But you never were competing with anyone in the first place. It was a mindset. If they were choosing other people, it was because they were not choosing themselves. Okay, that wasn't even about you. It's not a competition. No, it's not a competition. So it was about them, yet unfortunately it directly impacted you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes it's that we have to kind of process that and go, I mean, because I can tell you, it did take me a long time. And it's been 17 years of my journey. And, you know, I'm sure if my twin ever looked at these videos, he'd go, what the fuck are you talking about? 17 years. I've known this MF for 17 years. Which is kind of cool because, I mean, I can look at it and go, you chicks think you know him. No, you don't know him. And you know what? In a way, maybe I don't know him. But I have dealt enough with the frequency that I know him very well. So I kind of find it amusing. It's like, how long should I give this round? Having a pina colada, it's like, yeah. Again, mirroring, Mirroring, mirroring. I will keep saying it, the mirror. When we are making a statement about ourselves and what we feel we were, it's our opinions of ourselves. Why do you feel insignificant? This is driving me crazy. No, it's what your belief is. If you feel you're a lack, then you are a lack. If you hold yourself in high regard, then you know there will be no room for any BS and they will have to come correct. If they're acting like douchebags, you kick them to the curb. If you get my drift. Where on earth? There. Does that make sense? For 14 months. Has it been peaceful? Okay, now, I was going to do a separate video connected to Juno, but I will actually tell you that Juno is connected to Divine Feminines. Now, Juno is married to Jupiter and Saturn being the father. Now, currently, Saturn is direct, which is focusing on our finances and our health. Juno is the feminine, and when she is in duality, when she has her energy and frequency correct, in alignment, judgment time comes, right? This activation started 2012. Now we've done a 360, we're back here again, and it started in February, March. Now this frequency ends and moves around December, with the secondary ignition date February. So a lot of karmic energies are being purged. There are time frames connected to it. And what happens is Juno is only really called upon in a frequency level connected to history when masculine is out of alignment. Okay? So it comes down to when they are not on the path of where they're needing to be. It can be their spiritual path, or where they're taking accountability, etc. So Juno directly does impact masculine. It's not us as per se coming out to get masculine. I think we do have a life. But it's the astrology aspects of the purge and the transformation that happens. So we do have masculine energy inside us. So it's asking us to check ourselves. Although it does come down to feminine energy, the aspect of us balancing that is critical as well. Now, when it comes to 0 degrees, which is a lot of them are bouncing on the reset button between the 24th all the way through to the 27th. Now, we can have a tower moment on the 27th. Francisco. Huh? What did I miss, Google? Did I miss something? Whose personal higher dimensional task? Juno? Myself or another person? See, this is what happens when I come in on my own conversation at the end. But it can be connected to judgment, and it's usually when we are not in alignment correctly. Mine? In what way? Okay, so from the second waivers, the higher dimensional tasks have been assigned to the... Yes. But we need to be in alignment for that process. So there's 3 groups in the second wave at the moment that are splitting off and branching off. So it depends on whether you guys are going to have some aha moments connected to that. Now, it's not you jump down into the 3rd wave. You don't. You're still in the 2nd wave. But you may come to a point where you have to have a karmic lesson if you can't purge. So there will be things that will happen to you to help you understand and have a flip of consciousness. One could say yes. Well, what am I doing here, I gather? As long as everyone is at peace and happy, that's all that matters. Yeah, I guess. Well, this has been an extremely long session. So try and keep yourselves grounded. Hello. Try and keep yourselves grounded. It is the journey. Look, I have memories from before birth. I knew that I was coming back to repeat. And I do have memories from the past, as in, you know, previous lives and of before being born. I also have recognized past souls that were with me previously. Also, some of the way things are going to go, yes, I can tune into. And I do know, I don't know my task, but I am an iron empath. The task will be revealed to you in the 3D, in your life. So doors that open are intended. There's no wrong road, let me put it that way. Anything that you can choose the road that feels more energetically connected to you. And then you have the road that maybe is the simpler version because your ego is getting directly, you know, connected to it, but you're still going to end up in the same location, okay? Now, connected to a task, yes, we are. We have a higher task. Some of us will remember it. Some of us may not. Some of us have a higher knowing of what that task is. But it's not one task. It's various tasks. It's various, you know, even the aspects of the people that you will directly connect with. There will be people that will spiritually be connected to you for a time as well. Yes, I'm aware of that. That's okay, Elizabeth. Yes, the 3D task and the 5D. But we're anchored here at this point. So we do both and we are connected to both. But a lot of what is going on here in the 3D is connected to when we pass over on the other side. That has been my memory from birth. But the relevancy of the school, as in the matrix we're in right now, we need to also spiritually have the 5D and the 3D work in alignment so that we can reach that point. Anyway, love and light, guys. Yes. Well, yeah, I do recall a conversation I had with my twin, and he goes, what's all this about? And I went, look, we could get this right because I don't want to be coming back again. Look, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. Just trust in that factor. You'll never come back doing a similar thing, one could say. It may be different, but it'll be of an aspect of a learning path, etc. Love and light, guys. Look after yourself, Stefan. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, look at these. Look. Bye.